Hi you guys, welcome back. We are back in my garden to do an updated garden tour. So I want to thank you guys so much. I received so many compliments and comments asking me to do an updated garden tour of my backyard, kind of seeing how things have come along and what's changed and what's doing well and what's, what's struggled. So I thought I would do so. It's spring, it's beautiful. Things are really coming out of that nasty winter that we had. And it's early spring, so kind of be patient with what you're seeing. But overall, I'm so pleased with it. I'm just so happy with how things are coming along, and I think you guys would be too. So I really wanted to take you along with me on this journey and share with you. I feel like we're friends. I'm just going to carry you around and share with you all the beautiful plants and trees and what they're doing in our area. So. For those of you who are new to my channel, sorry, so rude, let me introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Bevins. I am a landscape designer here in Vero Beach, Florida. My husband and I, we've owned our company, Construction Landscape, for well over 25 years. And we specialize in places like this and making places beautiful for our neighbors, just redesigning outdoor spaces, kind of creating an environment that people are going to really enjoy and love, whether you're pulling up to your front yard and wanting to see a beautiful space and really enhance the curb appeal of your home, or places like my backyard, which just kind of welcome you to your backyard space. This is where we sit, this is where we relax, this is where we have our family dinners and just really enjoy this outdoor space. It's definitely my favorite place on the planet. So you guys, thank you so much for taking this time and walking around with me, and I hope I give you plenty of inspiration and you're able to really take and incorporate some of these things into your own home. If you're in need of any kind of landscape services and you're looking to have some landscape work done, and this is kind of your jam, then please reach out to us. I will put our contact information down below. It'll be a link to our website, and you can kind of just learn about us and see if we're going to be a good fit for you. We are here in Vero Beach, Florida, but we service as far south as Jupiter, Florida, St. Lucie, Vero Beach, Sebastian. We go all the way up into along the coast into Cocoa Beach, Satellite Beach area. So please reach out to us and we'd be very, very happy to meet with you. And we do design and installation as a package. So kind of from concept to completion. So yeah, so give us a call and we'd love to meet with you. But today we are going to walk through and talk plants and trees. I am going to kind of walk through my backyard buffer. If you saw the video from about a year and a half ago, I will do the same thing. So I'm going to put the plant name just down below on the screen so you're able to see kind of what we're talking about and kind of gather a shopping list. For those of you who are DIYers and looking to do a backyard project, and this is kind of what you're looking to do, then please bookmark this video because I've got some new hybrid material that I've had in the ground for about a year, a little over a year now, that I cannot wait to start using in my new landscapes. These are, I don't know, these are just great additions. I will always be a student of landscape and I just absolutely love new things. So for those of you who will see new things from the last video, then please bear with me. Like I said, I've got to try new things, so I'm moving things around the garden. So things have moved that I've reincorporated in my front yard if it's taken. And then other than that, I have to be ruthless and start with new plant material in certain spots to just kind of see how it's going to do over time, so I know that I can actually use it in different spaces. So yeah, so it's a process and it's ever evolving, but I love that I get to share this with you guys, and we're going to walk and talk plants. So there is going to be some things that I'm going to miss in the video, so please just put it in the comments down below. Maybe stick a timestamp there so I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'd be happy to share with you whatever's in that frame and how it's doing currently in my garden. Maybe I should give you kind of a point of reference on how this is situated before we walk through things. So from the foundation of my house, we have a paver patio that runs from the foundation to the edge of the patio, which is about 12 foot deep and runs the entire length of my home. And then from the paver patio edge to the planting edge is a kind of a sod section. I hate to call it a backyard because it's really not. It's more of a runway. You can play games in it, but it's about 9 to 12 feet wide. And then from that edge up is our planting section. So it is kind of on a slight berm, which is so helpful because we were able to really layer it pretty heavily. But you can do this on a flat space too. That berm runs about 16 to 17 or so foot deep, so because we've used every inch of our property line to kind of really create that heavy foliage, because we have several homes behind us and it's pretty much pool screen to pool screen. So I definitely wanted to have this space. The way I look at it is I've traveled to so many different beautiful places and spent, you know, hours on planes and thousands of dollars kind of recreating that same kind of feel that I feel in my own backyard space. So I thought, this is where I want to be. This is the environment that I want to be in. This is the place that, you know, we have Sunday morning breakfast with the kids, and this is the place that my husband and I unwind with a glass of wine in the evening. So this is our jam. This is the way we enjoy to spend our time. So I'm so grateful that you guys enjoy the videos and get inspiration from them, and I can share this with you. Turn this video around and point it towards the fun stuff, and I will see you in a second. See you soon. Right, you guys, so let's get started. So this is the edge of my buffer here. This is my neighbor's yard. You kind of see where they've kept it nice and clean, and pretty much grass leading up to the builder's hedge there. And then of course, you know, I prefer just a little bit more of a thick canopy coverage. So this is my backyard garden. You're definitely not gonna be playing soccer back here. Actually, just barely room for cornhole, but you know, this is what I enjoy to look at. This is what fills my cup back here. So this is where I sit. This is my seat here, and it looks directly across from my waterfall feature and all of my layered plants. And again, this buffer goes the extent of my property line. So it's just, I feel like I'm engulfed back here when I'm sitting. So let's start at the rear buffer here. This is Lucie. So these Lucias were put in a few years ago. They've grown so much and do what Lucias do, just stay nice, thick, and dense. This is a perfect privacy buffer planting. This guy, not only does he give you kind of privacy from view line, but they do such a great job of offering you a little bit of sound buffering. So, you know, these big giant leaves and the big thickness of the overall plant itself is kind of like the insulation of the landscape world, and they do such a good job of that. So I think that they make a nice ending point, and I've kind of got them in key areas for just that reason alone. So these have grown into about 8 foot tall, and they're just kind of where we want them to be. There's a house over there, and we just kind of wanted the roof line to disappear from when we're sitting on the deck, and they're doing it. So they're a great plant, no pest issues. These big giant leaves are succulent leaves. They are in the succulent family. So once established, they do fantastic with holding their water. You're not overwatering these by any means, so they're very, very easy. Now my plantings get a lot of water because I have a lot of tropicals in here, so I did plant them pretty high, so that way they had great drainage and I didn't have any issue with any root rot here. So these are planted in the right spot for it. They get great sun. They do such a nice job with giving us the coverage that we're asking for, and they're just no fuss. You know, we trim them about four times a year, and that's kind of what they need. To the back of that hedge is a flamethrower palm. They have a giant canopy spread to them for a single trunk leaf. Some people confuse them with Alexander palms, but you wouldn't once those spikes that you see there open up, because they open up to a red burgundy coloring frond, which gives them the nickname flamethrower, also called red feather palm. You know, there's probably so many other, red flame, or I'm not quite sure, but there's so many names to this palm because of what it offers, and it's always signified by that beautiful red leaf that it throws out. So those fronds stay a nice bright coloring, and then they turn that green as they start to really mature. So down below, now this is a red hot hibiscus, and it is one single bush. I know a lot of people put them as a hedge. I personally like them as a cluster planting, and that's kind of how I have them here. I love this leaf. I like that real dark, controlled look to it. Look at that dark stemming on it. It's just a beautiful leaf pattern. And then it gives you the bloom of the red flower. Now mine are bald at the bottom, not on purpose, but the winter did that to them. And they also did that to its neighbor here, which is the sunset hue or ruffled copper leaf. This too has a beautiful variegation in leaf. And just look at these two leaves together, this dark contrast with this bright, just such a stunner. I get these every time I see them in the garden. I think they're gorgeous. And they can be easily kept nice and compact. And for a copper leaf, that's about 3 foot by 3 foot. So not a small plant, but definitely something perfect in the garden as a smaller layer in the planting. So let's go to the King Sagos. So this is one that's producing a new set of fronds. That's what it looks like. I just think that looks like such an art piece right there. So that's just not so cool. And then this is as the fronds have opened up, and they're just gorgeous. That bright lime green to them. It's just such a stunner. I do have to hit these with Dominion 3 times a year during our rainy season, but because I do very little else to them, I think they're worth it. You can hit that Dominion with them as kind of a precaution, but after that, they're no fuss, no trouble, so they're worth it. I have them in the front yard, I have them in the backyard, I have them in my entrance ways of my seating section. I think that they look fantastic as that kind of fountain spray of the garden. They just do a nice job of really popping up. And this companion tree right next to them, which each of the Sagos is flanking right now, is a Carpaloxan palm. It is such a cool palm. This palm, there's still not many in the wild, but they are starting to be used in nurseries. I'm seeing them more and more, which is kind of awesome because they're a cool palm. They were very hard to find for a long while. And I have been finding them now in nurseries and will be using them very often in landscapes. But look at that cool bottle-based trunk to them. Really, really neat. They do like a little protection. This area, believe it or not, gets a little bit more sun than they like. But there's not many palms that offer such a stout, cool trunk and still give you a dense canopy of leaves. And I love that crown shaft, how it comes out and then really curves, so it kind of keeps it very, very controlled. Again, this one's a little yellow from the amount of sun and a little bit of cold snap that we got over the winter months. So it will green up with its new fronds, and I just need to hit it with some 8212 palm gain. Okay, so the backdrops, we have some Lucie all the way to the back there, but what the real focus is this awesome, fabulous traveler's palm. Look at that flat fan traveler's palm. It is just gorgeous. Look at that trunk. That trunk design is just such a stunner. It's like a piece of art there. Gorgeous. There's just not many things that scream tropical like the traveler's palms. I just love those big paddled fronds. So if you've seen this in the previous video, it has grown like 6 foot, and it is just loving its location. It's a little bit on a hill, so it's getting that drainage. It is pointing and kind of turning itself towards the sun, which I think is just very, very cool. What we are missing is the backdrop to it. When I put them in my landscapes for clients, I always put something dynamic behind it. So, because when you really have something of a solid color as a backdrop, then you see that trunk line way more. It's just more visible. So currently, I have red Louisiana red copper leaves back there, but they got a terrible fungus a couple months ago, so I've had to cut them all the way back, and you kind of see that their stems are now coming, but they were 6 foot solid red to the back and were a fantastic backdrop to this tree. I've sprayed them and they will flesh back out. Unfortunately, they're just not going to make a debut on this video. Okay, so each side is a plumeria tree. They're looking for the sun, so they're both going to kind of come forward. So as this tree continues to grow, I'm hoping those two really really mesh together and kind of create a beautiful tree grouping with 2 different blooming colors on their flowers. This one is a pink and this one is a white. And again, we're gonna have that bright red backdrop there. So can imagine how pretty that's going to be. So just below the King Sago is Cassandra's. I use them ever so often. I don't use them a whole lot, and when I do, I just cluster them just like you see for a little bit of pop of color. They're one that you cut back during the year, and then it flushes back out this time of year. So spring, summer, and then you cut them back again in the fall. So a nice little pop of orange right there, a nice little delicate bloom. And when I don't have those there, I'll mix, or when I cut them all the way back, I'll add in some annuals into that little spot right there. So that way I always have color underneath that sago. Now this sago, I didn't want anything to get too tall, so I've got dwarf Taiwanese Ixoras, and they bloom that beautiful orangey red flower. So they're going to do really nice against this bright light coloring. Then we go the orange, and then we've got these ruby reds. And anytime I have yellows and oranges together, I will hit a dark spot of impact. So those will be a darker purple this time of the year. And then in the summertime and into fall, there will be more of a burgundy red. And they're just stunning at that time of the year. They're just, I mean, I love them both times, but really, they really show themselves off in the summer. So right next to them, I have a gold dust croton. And this is the spot that he likes. They love filtered light, all morning sun. They can handle sun until about 4 o'clock. Once we hit that 4 o'clock time frame, they really like that protection. So that's the kind of environment that I kind of replicate to put those in. To the back, these, oh my God, you guys. These are Brazilian red cloaks. Look at the size of this leaf. It is just crazy. I use them in the front. I've had them in the ground almost 2 years. So beautiful. Once they start blooming, they do not stop. No pest problems. Handled the freeze like a champ. They bloom this beautiful cone shaped. It starts out like light pink and then goes into almost a fuchsia red. Just gorgeous. I will be using them so often. I hope my future clients love them. I'll post a picture of what they look like when they're in bloom and then a little bit older. And because I will be using them on my future landscapes, because they just make me look great when they're in bloom and doing well. And they're overall a very tough plant. So these are trial approved, and Brazilian red cloaks are on the list. And you know what? Let's not miss out on talking about this Buda edging. I am in love with it. Not only do we test or try to test as many new plant and tree and live material as possible, but we try to find anything that's going to really create impact in a garden, that's really going to offer long-term benefit to any space. And this Buda edging is now on my list. This is a composite edging material. It is American made, so you know that it is a great quality. I have used it over here on both sides of my garden. Very much in love with it. Comes in, I believe it's 3 different colors. I'll be sure to post the information down below. But what I love about it so much is that it's easy to work with. So this is not just contractor approved, you guys. This is definitely something to tackle as a homeowner. It comes in 4-foot sections. It's hollow on the inside, so easy to maneuver and work with. The flexibility is awesome. You can create big, large, swooping curves like I like to do, or you can, pretty much create a full circle with just a few pieces. So I'm a big fan. It comes with its own stakes, so once you stake it into the ground, it's secure, it's solid, and I love that it gives you a raised bed feel. I just love that. I love that you can see it. You know, with the edging that we normally use, which I am obviously still a big fan of, and this is the aluminum alloy edging. It's a great product, and it's fantastic for spaces like dividing 2 different types of stone. You know, it's a good clean look. But to divide sod and stone, it tends to get lost. And you know, if you're looking for an invisible edge line, then great. It's a great product for that. But when you want something that's kind of gonna just really feel like you're keeping that mulch in, really divide that bed, then the Buda edging is the way to go. I cannot wait to start really using it. It's UV protected. It has a great warranty. Customer service is fantastic. And bonus, it's not something you have to haul from the big box stores out to your home. It's something that gets delivered right to your front door. So this is going to be an ongoing product that we're going to use. So you guys will have to let me know what you think about it in the description below. I'll be sure to post a picture of what it looks like when it comes in and the 3 color options, so that way you guys can see it. And I believe it's like a 4-step process I'm putting it in. It's just so super easy. And I had no trouble installing it. What I like most about it is it's not real brick. So I can literally pop it up, add a plant, add a curve, and then put it and restake it and put it back down. So I have never been a fan of permanent edging, just because of all the work that it takes if you want to switch something out and if you want to change things up. And you guys know me by now. I love to change things up. I love interesting things. If I fall in love with something at the garden center, I want to bring it home. So the Buda edging allows me to do that. I love that flexibility with it. And they have a lot of YouTube videos. I will maybe link one down below of how to install it so you can see the simplicity of it. But it's definitely a product that that we will be using. So you guys will have to let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. All right, so let's move on. So right here is a Queen Emma, and she likes her spot. Now, when they have that true purple coloring, they really like the environment. So all morning sun, all filtered light environments, not full shade, but this is the spot that they love. She's underneath this giant areca palm and really gives you some nice concealed coverage there. And so this area gets good afternoon sun, good morning sun. And you can see on this tip where the sun is a little bit more aggressive, how it looks when it gets more sun than it likes. So you get a little bit of that browning on the edges. But what a stunner she is. And she's not even in bloom. So she's just the queen of the garden for sure. To the back is of a 10, 11-year-old areca palm. That caning is just gorgeous. And that's kind of another reason why I wanted to put the Brazilian red cloaks on either side, because I wanted thickness and denseness, but not lose the color that the quarter lines offered, because I wanted to get rid of a lot of that interior frond coverage that the areca palms have, because at night when the spotlight is shining on that tree, all of that caning, all of that shadow effect, it's just magical. It's just gorgeous. So I wanted to be able to clean those out so I can see right through them and see that reflection of all that, all of those canings at night. Okay, so right to the right, I have a little pathway that leads to the back of my waterfall so I can get in there for maintenance and trimming. And then I have a La Quala palm. Now this La Quala palm is not happy. This is not an environment that I would put it in. Again, it's been here for 2 years and really not done much of anything. The wind just beats it up. The sun, it gets a little bit too much sun in the afternoon, and it's just not super happy here. I've got one at the end of my garden that is more protected with palms all the way around it, and it's very, very happy. So that's what I'm going to recreate if I use it into a client's garden. So they're definitely worth it. They're definitely beautiful, and when they're happy, they're a stunner in a garden. But when they're not, they're too expensive to kind of go to waste like you're seeing here. So I've got a mix of bromeliads here and some foxtail agave here and here. Look at the orchids. So anytime you have water, bring in the orchids. These orchids are attached to my trees, and they love that constant splash, the constant humidity off of the water line. They're just very, very, very happy here. I rarely fertilize these guys. I mean, maybe once a year at best, but they don't mind because they really, really like where they live. Now to the back of the waterfall, I have Pateria palms, aka cat palms, and they line the whole back, and they are doing their job. You can see right above there, that is my neighbor's giant pool screen, and they have almost reached maturity where they're covering that pool screen. So Pateria palms grow to 8 to 10 foot tall and stop. which is truly one of their absolute best qualities. I love how dark green the fronds are. When they're young, people confuse them often with areca palms, but they are not an areca palm. They do have a similar base, but they do kind of widen and stay thick and stay dark green and fold over beautifully like you see here. But they stop growing at 10 foot, so they won't continue to grow like their giant neighboring lookalikes here. They do like filtered light, so they're underneath these canopy trees of the coconut palms. I've got 3 coconut palms and 2 arecas flanking them, and that's really helping them stay nice and green. They do not like full sun. They will brown in full sun, but in this light, all morning, early afternoon, perfect, fine. Even into shade, fine. I've got them as backings in here in the shade, and they're doing fantastic. But full sun, they're, not a fan. I've got some, just to the back, I don't see in this corner, I've got some sloppy painters in there. I've got some aglaonema in here. These are silver bays, also known as Chinese evergreen. That's what we called them when we were growing up, but they used to be known as a house plant. And a couple years ago, I started incorporating them into the garden, as a lot of landscapers did, and they loved it. They need protection. This is the perfect spot for them, so I'm really going to see what they're going to do. Now, later in the day, this area gets more sun, but this fold over of this leaf coverage does a great job of concealing and protecting them from wind, protecting them from sun. So if you've got an environment like this, put them in, because the brightness of that coloring, look at there, really shows off, and those are babies still. So I do miss my elephant ears and monsteras there. I just love the way it looked in the garden, but I needed to try a different environment for those silver bays before I really started using them in other people's landscapes. I've got them in other spots, like I said, but I needed to see what they're going to do in a little bit more light. So if we move on to the right here, this is giant leopard's ear, or leopard plant, or tractor seat, or farfugium. They come with a lot of names, but so many beautiful things. So look at this plant. What a close-up. I just love them. They're giant, big lily pad kind of leaves. They're a no-fuss plant. They do not like a lot of sun. They like filtered light. They will burn and melt in a lot of sun. So morning sun, filtered light, perfect. But anything more than that, not a fan. I've got Margaret bromeliads just to the left of those, and fireball bromeliads. These are the larger leaf fireballs. A sloppy painter in that back section there, and it's getting nice size to it underneath that areca palm. And Rojo Congos as a grouping right there. My Rojo Congos are starting to get some size and some height to them where you can see the stems, so I was able to tap in a few more farfugiums down below. So yeah. So as soon as your plants get a little bit of size to them, put a skirt underneath of them, put something with some coverage underneath of them, and they just do so well. Oh, my lights came on because it's so dark back here. We've been battling the rain all day today, so not the best day to film, but I'm hoping that you guys are still able to see the contrast in the colors here. So this is a clustering of green Congos and Rojo Congos. And then right down below is an osmoxylon plant. I call them Moxie because the other is a mouthful, but it is hard to find a plant that likes filtered light or shade that has a small little leaf to it. Most of them have giant leaves because they have to capture as much as they can of that sun and heat. But this guy has got such a nice, just cool texture to the leaf. Let's bring it a close up. It's only been in the ground about 5 months now, but the front yard, I have one that has been there for a little over a year, and it has just gotten chunky and full and thick, and it's about 3 by 3 right now, and very, very, very happy. I will be using this in many landscapes to come. I think they're great. They can handle a lot of the different climates. They like partial sun, moderate, filtered light, and then they can handle full sun, but they do tend to burn a little on the edges. So I think I'm gonna keep it more along the lines of this type of situation. So right here, We have a bird's nest fern. Got a couple of them here. The size of this guy here. What a cool look to that leaf. They are so fun. They, again, like this type of planting underneath a canopy of trees. And it is the happiest it's been since it's been in the ground. It is trial tested approved. But look at how this triple spindle palm branches out and really covers these guys from direct sun contact. So they get just enough, but not too much. So morning, midday, no more than sun by 3 o'clock. If we're still getting sun, it's gonna get burnt. A little grouping of Margaret bromeliads. This little area is on the edge, so it does get a little bit more sun, and they handle it well. So they can handle full sun. Another thing that can handle full sun are these foxtail agaves. Oh my gosh, you guys, they're just, I just love them. They're not like most agaves, they're spineless, so they don't have any thorns, which is fantastic. I mean, you're really, really gonna get that tropical look, and they multiply. It does take them a while to multiply, but they do multiply, so they don't go crazy on you, but they're perfect for pots, or perfect for little spots like this along a rock or a boulder, and they just think they look so great. Imperialis bromeliads are also a full sun bromeliad. They will burn a little bit on the edges if they get too much sun. This spot gets a great deal of sun. Obviously not today because we are dealing with, you know, really overcast day. So right here we have a clustering of Rojo Congos. We've got the smaller bird's nest fern here, and we've got more aglaonema. We have got the Silver Bay. This guy has been in the ground a couple years, loves this spot, protected on each side and the back. So really a nice, safe environment for them to just do their thing. They grow slow, they offer you no trouble, and you barely have to fertilize them. They're just a no-fuss plant. However, underneath of them, this Sabrina is not as happy. You know, I love calatheas. I love the way they look, and I really wanted this one to work. I just love this leaf pattern. Unfortunately, you see all the fringe on the edge? That's just a little bit of wind that's done that. So I'm not gonna be able to be using them into my clients' gardens, unfortunately, and I had hoped to. So I'm gonna give these the end of the year and kind of see how they do, and then maybe pot them and move them inside if they don't really shape up. So down below is a clustering of giant leopard's ear, farfugium. Now this is where all of my quarter lines went. So all the quarter lines that I took to make room for the Brazilian red cloaks, I have gathered here in a nice little party effect. I love the mix. They are just tropical and fun and full. I've got kiwis here, antilus here, floricas there, maries here, diamond here. I love that pink on them. They're so delicate. And exoticas, which are a little temperamental, but they're my favorite. I love this whitening on them. Isn't that gorgeous? That white pink. It's like a candy cane. It's just gorgeous. And then I've got some more floricas and some maries, and this is just a red sister here. This Silver Bay has been in the ground a couple years here and very happy. It's a backing to this Dayun palm, and this was the first one that I planted. So you can see that it really hasn't overgrown the space. It's really kept, I would say it's maybe 38 inches at best. So it's really the perfect size for a shade understory plant. This Dayun palm is leaning forward. They're just such a fun, lacy palm. It's searching for the sun, so it, of course, it's getting a little crowded out from my from the back, guys. You guys, really, don't be so rude. My Dayun palm has been here a long time. It grows very slow, but it is such a cool palm, and considering that it's pointed right at the seating section of our fireplace over there, it's just It's just one of those things that you see when you first pop out in the garden. And when we get the littlest bit of wind, it constantly moves. I mean, it's just so lacy, so it has so much movement in the garden. And that's one of the things that I love about this back space, is it always feels so alive. Now my goal is to have the canopies kind of overlap over top of you as you're walking down this, you know, oversized walkway back here. I've got canopies going this way and fronds going this way, and my goal is, as everything really matures out, see if I can get a better angle, then you will feel like you're walking up underneath the canopies. And it is the only way that I can create that look that I love, that look that you kind of have to kind of pop your head around the corner just to see what's behind the next thing, you know, a little bit of mystery in the garden. It's just, I love that look. And when I work with clients, I have a tendency to always do that. I never want to see things right as soon as you open the door and you see the whole thing all at one glance. I love that. There's just charm that pulls you out further and further and further into the garden. So unfortunately, my yard is set up where, for the most part, you see it at full glance because, you know, there's the door and everything is flat in the space. So the best that I could do is really work with it by really creating palms on both sides to kind of offer a little bit of that coverage as you're walking through the garden. So, and I think it's doing that. So I cannot wait till it fully completes that kind of feel, because there's just magic in that, I think. I'm such a romantic at heart. Anyway, so to the back of these quarter lines, oh, the sun's finally coming out, you guys. To the back of these quarter lines is the Sloppy Painters. The Sloppy Painter collection has done well. It is a bright spot in the garden. You see how dark it is back there. Their variegated leaf is really draws your eye to it. So between that and the quarter lines, we've really created a bright spot in what would normally be a very dark spot in the garden because of the shade. Right here, next to my naked lady statue, as my husband likes to call it. She is gorgeous at night. The light shines right on her, and again, that bright white coloring of the statue really draws your eye to this part of the garden. And it's, you know, it's all about creating a space that your eye just wants to just say, oh, what is this and what is that and what is this? So I try to make that happen throughout, you know, throughout all of the landscaping. But what I find interesting is this Rojo Congo has been in the ground about 12, 13 years now, and has grown up the tree. Now I know there's a lot of philodendrons that do that, but I did not know up until, you know, last year that these would do that. So yes, so Rojo Congos will climb up your tree. More than likely he's being crowded out by the plants just down below him. So he's like, I better get my act together and move up if I'm gonna keep my space in the garden. And I'm so pleased that he did, because look at what a framework over top of my lady statue. I just love this. Now the light shines up on this statue at night and really hits these shadow effects on these big giant leaves there. And then right to the right of that is the green Congo. And I know it doesn't get as much love as the Rojo Red because the leaf color is just green in a green landscape, but it doesn't quite get as much of the legginess as the Rojo Congos do. So Rojo Congos, to me, I don't mind the legginess because I create a skirt planting underneath of it. You know, as something grows up, now I have room for a second tier. So I don't mind that. But in a lot of people's gardens that want a fixed garden, then you have to think about that's something that you're gonna have to add to it as that plant matures years later. The green Congo, however, it has really, it still produces those bottom leaves and stays nice and chunky and thick. And it too is a, you know, winter chicken dinner with no pests, no issues. It's just a very, very happy plant. And it can handle filtered light, morning sun. Does really, really well on that spot. So, but yeah, I just love the way those two play together. And I think it looks so great around her. All right, so just down below, we've got mango crotons, and they're doing really well. This little edging here gets a little bit more sun than everything to the back of it, so you can see that their brightness of color right on those tips of those leaves, and that's just due to the extra sun that gets. They do not like full sun. They are a shade croton, but they do not like full shade either. So they will grow in full shade, but they're going to get greener and greener rather than keeping that contrasting color in the leaf. So this is a great environment for them. Early morning sun, midday sun. Right here is the other La Koala. Now look at how much better this one is doing in this spot. This tree is really liking this area. It's grown twofold compared to the other one, and it's protected all the way around. It's got cat palms to the back, areca palms, triangle fan palms, and this beautiful European fan palm that has been here. So it is really in a spot that's controlled, does not get much wind, does not get just doesn't get in any way hit too hard because of that. So I'm going to recreate this as more of a courtyard palm for future plantings. The tree to the back, we're still in testing stages on that, so we'll have to see what that does soon before we really get into too much talking about it. This here, this is my bird house that is not a bird house. So when I got this, we got the directions on what to do to make this the perfect little penthouse for birds. I really wanted to bring more of them out here, and we followed the directions because we're good students. But can you see this guy? So most of the times when I'm out here working in the garden, I see four little froggy heads popping out of these little windows. This has become a frog house. I get no bird action, not a one. They always end up just, you know, I guess the frogs keep them run off. So if anybody knows what I might be doing wrong, how I can evict the frogs and bring in the birds, I would love to know it, because I'm apparently not doing that right. So right here we have Lady Claire crotons. They're very happy here, and then the darker it gets, the darker the leaf gets. So again, this is the environment that I'm looking for when I'm planting them. Look how gorgeous that leaf is. It's just a white, it's like a creamy white coloring, and there's a little tinge of yellow on there, but that is just that prominent white spot in a darker colored garden is so nice. Your eye just is drawn right to it. Kind of like the Java Whites do for you, but in a croton fashion. I've got a magnificent croton topping out there, burley marks plant here, and it's just kind of a nice 2-foot ground cover that doesn't grow tall at all. So they're making a nice bottom staple to a garden. More farfugiums, Rojo Congos. This is kind of what I mean about the stemming on the Rojo Congos. So you can kind of see that stemming, and it's only because my Sanchesia have not had a chance to do their job yet. We're in early spring right now. They got burnt back to a crisp in the winter, and they're just now starting to come back, but they're usually just full in this space, and they kind of come up and underneath those Rojo Congos and really give us a nice spot of yellow in this little section of the garden here. But a few months and they'll be doing that just again. So we are now at the edge of the garden. This is the end of the buffer, and this is a double hurricane palm. And again, I'm hoping that in time it's going to kind of come over into my Collusia, and then just really give me a nice ending point to that garden. Look at the orchids. These orchids are attached to a very old Christmas palm, Adnidia palm, and they're very happy. They really are just now starting to pop out and doing well. I have another Carpoxylon palm. So I have no business at all putting this palm in here. There's really not much room. Let's see if I can get a picture of the base. It has a nice curved trunk to it, so I was really hoping that it's going to curve out and kind of come into the walkway a little bit more, and hopefully it will do that as it's, you know, protected back there from the sun too much. But I love my other two so much, and you know what they say, if you love two, you'll love three. And Randy Sexton's Farms gave me the other two, and I happened to see this one when they were doing some clearing, and of course I had to buy this one because he gave me the other two, and I didn't want to tell him it was for my yard, but I had to have it. I just love this leaf curl. I love what they do, and if he had another one in there, I'd probably find another place for it, but we won't tell them. Good people, Francis and Randy are. All right, so that's kind of the end of the bed. You know, I kind of finished this edging off with some Collusia, and I've got a one little spot that I had open, and I put another red cloak in there because that is an open spot that I can see from my seating section. But overall, kind of finishes us off here. Well, that was fun. I am so glad that we did this today, and happy spring to you all. I hope you really enjoyed this garden tour and got to see some of the updates and really enjoyed some of the fun stuff that we brought to our new space. And hopefully you can share some of it for your own space. For those of you who, of course, need a little bit more hands on deck, then please reach out to us. I'll be sure to leave our contact information down in the description down below, and just ring us up and we'd be happy to meet with you and design and install something beautiful for your space. So the rest of you guys and everybody else, take care, and good evening, good night, good morning, whenever you're watching. I will see you in the next garden tour, and please leave a comment down below if you think that you might want to see more videos that that pertain to this. If you want to walk through more videos that we've created on a weekly basis, because this is what we do, and obviously this is what we love. So we'd love to share them with you if you guys think that you'd love to see them. So best of luck to all you gardeners out there, and take care. Bye.